Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nightly, your Monday through Friday source for everything Nintendo. My name is Michael Cottrell, your host, and today on the show I want to talk about the Super Smash Bros. Invitational. But before we get into that, if you're curious what Nintendo Nightly is, it is a Monday through Friday podcast, usually posting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will take one topic of discussion, whatever is latest and greatest in the Nintendo sphere, and just talk about that for around 10 minutes. And instead of doing a long-winded 2-hour-long podcast discussion, we're just going to get into it, and then we'll leave the discussion for the comments for our subreddit, r/Nintendo Nightly, so on and so forth. So if you like this sort of independent Nintendo news that is more in the moment and short and sweet, then please support us by subscribing or by shopping in the Amazon links we put in the description, all that fun stuff. You know what to do. Thank you so much for checking the video out, though. Let's get into it. Super Smash Bros. Invitational was announced today from Nintendo to be happening June 11th and 12th this year at E3. They did this with the release of the Wii U, and they're going to do it this year alongside a Splatoon competition that's happening. And I want to talk about the implications of that, specifically around my strange oddball theory that I developed today that Super Smash Bros. 5, whatever this new iteration is, even if it's a port, is going to have more of a competitive focus. Now, that's the big question in my mind, because the series creator, Masahiro Sakurai, doesn't really think of Smash as a competitive game. I think it might have started that way when the game didn't have any Nintendo characters in it, didn't have any items. It was just King of Fighters, or I think it was called Dragon Fighter. King of Fighters is a real fighting game. Dragon Fighter was this sort of generic fighting game along the lines of your Tekken, your Street Fighter, all that fun stuff. And I think at that point it probably didn't have a huge emphasis on items, though it did have the same fighting system that we saw today with Nintendo characters. And as Smash has developed, there's been less and less of an emphasis on high-level play, skilled play, competitive play, whatever you want to call it, with Brawl being just the absolute pinnacle of this, introducing tripping, making the gameplay very slow. And I think that Nintendo's starting to come around on this. Here's my case here. Now I know that the terrible things Nintendo has done as far as competitive Smash goes. I know that with the Evo tournament, the Evo showing for Melee, they tried to cancel it being streamed just days before the event aired, after the Melee community had raised almost $100,000 toward cancer research. I know that they have largely turned their back on that scene. It has just been a grassroots thing until the most recent Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. But they've started sponsoring tournaments, they've started having events with competitive players, and I think they're going to finally come around to this. And while fans are very split on the issue, I meet people that think that it's just disgusting that anybody would play competitively, and I meet people that think it's disgusting that anybody plays with items on. And I think that Super Smash Bros. Is the type of game, the type of wonderful idea using all-star characters in a very approachable fighting format with some depth that's underneath. I think that's the perfect formula for both. Because here's the thing, you're never going to alienate the casual crowd of Smash. As long as the game has Nintendo characters, as long as it has fun stages and new characters to fight with, they're going to show up. I mean, I bought Dragon Ball FighterZ knowing that that is going to turn into a hardcore fighting game, just kind of on the premise of Dragon Ball Z characters. It looks fun. And that's really the only sell that you have to make to the casual crowd here. And while I know Dragon Ball FighterZ isn't the most competitive fighting game, the most complicated fighting game around, you get my point there. The competitive crowd can be lost, however. I think that a lot of them are going to show up to try Smash 5, as they did to try out Brawl and Smash 4. But if you want them to crowd around the newest Smash release, like Nintendo hopes for and tried to artificially mangle that one year where they tried to cancel the Melee showing, I think all you need to do is just make the game deep. The casual crowd, you're not going to alienate them. And the competitive crowd, I don't think it would be that hard to win them over. The fundamentals of Smash, you think of the things like spacing, maintaining a proper amount of space between you and your opponent. I think the ability to get creative with stringing multiple hits together, the creativity that can be employed in guarding the ledge and trying to keep the recovering player off of it. These are all things that you can tighten and make better and really attract a new competitive crowd without alienating the casual people that are there. If they still want to do 8-player Smash, awesome. I'm down for it. Had a lot of fun doing that. If they want to have really cool items, there weren't really, I don't think there were many cool items in Smash 4, but, you know, like, I play with items sometimes. I play the 1-player mode. It's cool. But this is an angle where they can really win and win big. There's a lot of money being spent on esports right now, whether that's the sponsorships, the huge prize pools that you see in games like League of Legends and Overwatch, to the point where we're having teams being formed, like cities purchasing video game player teams, and esports has a long road to go before it's a mainstay of our everyday life, but it's definitely on its way there. I think that nobody can refute that point at this point in time, is that esports are here to stay, and there's a lot of money to be made in it. So I think Nintendo is at some point going to finally realize this. It has to be now. It has to be now. Like they, even Splatoon 2, as casual as that game seems, has a very hardcore following behind it, that they're going to take some of the best players from around the world, bring them here and compete. I think that they're going to, when they marketed the Switch, they had a stadium of people watching as Splatoon 2 was being played on the big screen. I think this is finally the chance that they're going to do that. And with the game being, a string in a bunch of games that Sakurai didn't expect to ever happen. He expected Melee to be his last game. He expected Brawl to be his last game. And with Smash 4, he's kind of given up the respect. I'm sure he knows that Nintendo's always going to want a Super Smash Bros. Game on their console, and fans are always going to want it. I think it's time for him to take a step back. He has crafted the series, made all the concepts really work really well, and even for games that were really poor in a competitive sense like Brawl, they still had a lot of redeeming qualities, like in that case the Subspace Emissary, the different bosses that were there, and there's just the sheer amount of creative characters that he added, like Captain Olimar and Pikmin, and having like a Pokemon trainer. There's a lot of really cool moves that have been done through the Smash series that he has spearheaded, but it's time for him to take a step back, both for the reason of it's time to get some fresh eyes on the game, and just all the medical problems that he ran into during the development of the last Smash. So that's my crazy theory. I think Smash 5 is going to be a new game. I think it's going to be competitive and fight me. There's a lot of reasons I could be wrong. I might be wrong. History would tell me that I'm wrong, but I think this is the time where they're going to focus on that aspect. Now, how they're going to focus on it is my other weird theory. So put your tinfoil hats on. Super Smash Bros. 5 is going to have a smaller roster than Smash 4, maybe even smaller than Brawl to start with, and they're going to add characters as free DLC updates, a la Splatoon 2, to constantly keep fanning the flames of the franchise. That is my thought, and if they don't do that with the original roster, they're definitely going to do it with other newcomers. Now, what characters are left to put in Smash that haven't been put in there? I don't know, but I guess there's another like 30 characters per Fire Emblem game that you can put in there, so I guess we'll do more of that. So there's your update for the night. Nintendo Nightly is a Monday through Friday show, posting most of the time at 8 p.m. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and all sorts of different podcast services. You can find us there. If you want to write into the show, write into the comments section of whatever platform you're listening on, or check out thebentoblock.com/Nintendo Nightly. Write me a note. Let me know what you think of this whole thing. Do you think Smash is going to be competitive? Do you think it's going to be more casual? Do you even care? Does this debate stir up a fire inside you like it does for me? Or is the Smash just a game that you just enjoy on your free time? I'd love to know what angle you're coming from. Also, like, if you've ever been to a tournament, and how you feel about the tournament scene for Smash. So yeah, that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow with more Nintendo Nightly. You keep speculating, my friend, as will I.